You are listening to the MPH Hour on News Talk Saga 960 AM. I'm your host, Jason Tom. There was a time when Canadian basketball players thought their only way to play the game at the highest level of post-secondary and then professionally was to go to the U.S. during their high school years. Now, that is certainly not the case, as the pathway from high school to the pros can be found right here at home. Grant Shephard was a standout high school player in British Columbia before he went to the prestigious Montverde Academy, where he played with two other Canadians, current New York Knicks guard R.J. Barrett and NCAA standout Andrew Nembhard. But Shephard decided to take a different path. He returned home to play at the University of British Columbia despite interest from multiple NCAA programs. It surprised a lot of people. Now a member of the Carleton Ravens and the Niagara River Lions of the CEBL, Shephard is charting a path that I believe many more Canadian players will be taking in the coming years. Grant Shephard just turned 22 years old, but already a veteran in a few different ways and a part of a wave of players that are paving a new path here at home for Canadian basketball players. It's been a tough year for basketball in Canada in general. And Grant, what have you been doing to stay ready back home in British Columbia?
Everything that I can get my mind to create, basically. Backyard workouts, running, whatever's getting me to that game time playing level, especially. Everything's got to be game speed, all the timing, all the spacing, everything. So it's just being really creative, backyard stuff. Yeah, back alley. I got my hoop set up. It works, I guess. Besides that, just finding gym time whenever you can while staying safe.
I want to start with the CEBL. I mean, you were a part of the first year U Sports draft class for that league, and that was groundbreaking to say the least. You were on the Fraser Valley Bandits squad. They struggled out of the gate. I remember talking to you in Guelph and just kind of wondering what you were thinking of the experience. And, you were really soaking it all up. Obviously, your home provincial team, but also the opportunity at that point to be around professionals.
Yeah. I think I was most excited about playing with guys my size. Like, everybody there was big, physical, and fast. Being my size and my athleticism, I didn't always get that, honestly, in the league. A lot of teams did have very, very good bigs, and so that challenged me, but it wasn't consistent. So this was consistent, high level pro training every day. The coaches, trainers, therapists, they're all high level. So it was good to finally see that as a U Sports player still. So it got me ready.
Heading into the league's third year, you're playing with the Niagara River Lions alongside your Carleton University teammate Lloyd Pandy, also former Raven Emmanuel Uatua, two guys that really made the most of the experience last year in the bubble. What sort of added incentive does that give you, having seen the success of guys last season at the U Sports level in the CEBL?
That gives me a lot of motivation, I'd say. And same with the other guys. You see a lot of the U Sport players coming in and actually having an impact. So that just goes to show the progress that U Sports is making in preparing pros for the next level. Like, Lloyd is in there and he's doing his thing as a first year, which is crazy. Like, that guy, whenever he decides to graduate, is going to be a beast. He's going to be a tough guy to handle in the league wherever he goes. So it's really good to see that guys can do what they are doing and what they've been training for in U Sports, but translating to a more of a pro setting.
We've talked about it a lot, but from a player perspective, when you kind of step back, you see what's happening in the NCAA with obviously the players kind of clawing for their opportunity to either make some money or use their name to be able to get some sponsorship. Meanwhile, here in Canada, we have a pro league that's giving you guys this experience. Have you been able to step back and just realize from a groundbreaking perspective what that really means?
Now that you say it, no, but no, it's crazy to step back. We always think that NCAA kind of has a big step on U Sport, obviously because of money, fan base, all the hype, competition, that kind of stuff. But if you can step back and be grateful for what we can provide here in Canada. It's crazy because we've built it off of players and off of coaches that have just had a love for the game, and they just want to keep it going forward, and they want it to be equal throughout all of North America or the world. Even like we're all just striving to be the best.
I mentioned off the top about you kind of paving a new path. Take me back to graduating high school and deciding to go to UBC rather than taking one of, multiple interested schools at the D1 level, because at that time it really did shock a lot of people when you made that decision.
Yeah, I get this question a lot. And going back to starting a new path, paving a new way for Canadians. A lot of my mindset was going to a good school, but in Canada, showing these younger kids that you can make it to a high level pro, not just any pro, a high level pro from Canadian universities. If you're a top, 3-4 school in Canada, odds are you have a starting lineup full of pros. I was just with Keza and Tommy and Phil Scrub. They were giving me pointers over in Puerto Rico, but they're telling me that, you got to keep your head in the game, keep motivating and inspiring others to have the dream in Canada as well. You can make it. You can make it from here.
Do you see a shift in thinking right now that maybe young players are realizing they can stay in Canada and become a professional basketball player, maybe because some of the opportunity here allows them to train a little bit more? And now we're seeing a shift maybe in the coaching and in the basketball programs, understanding what is needed to get these players to come back home.
We need the commitment of past players that have seen all this happen and have been around it, starting this new wave of taking basketball seriously in Canada. Yeah, it starts with the players and the coaches. Like when I first came to Canada and didn't go to the States, I had a lot of players messaging me, like a lot of younger players, and they're on Instagram saying like, "Oh, why'd you choose this? Why'd you choose that?" Well, I'll tell them, like, if you work hard enough, you can go to the same, if not better level of pro basketball of where you want to go to from Canada. It's about putting yourself in the right position. For me, that was getting a lot of touches at UBC, getting a lot of experience right off the bat. Guys in Division I could unfortunately end up going, to a school where it's a hyped up school or it's a really good school, but maybe they won't play till their third or fourth year, and those are crucial years, the first and second year of development. So if I explain that to kids, they'll start to understand. They'll say, okay, like it's all up to me. I just have to put myself in a good position.
I had another former teammate of yours, Danilo Juricic, on here not too long ago, and we were talking about the U-19 World Cup.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, what was that experience like for you and that squad? What Danilo said was the tightest team that he had ever been a part of.
That is factual. Yeah. No, we can hit up any of those guys from the team and have a nice long conversation. We're all still brothers. Even though it may seem like, what was it, 4 years ago now? It might seem like a long time. Connecting with all these guys today, it's like it was yesterday, right? But yeah, that tournament was awesome. It was surreal. We just got our butts handed to us, like 3 years in a row in semifinals at whatever, like an AmeriCup, World Championship, qualifier by USA. Well, yeah, 3 times in a row. We would be in a silver medal round or a gold medal round, ending up with silver. So that felt good. That felt good.
I'll always remember the Nate Darling lob to you for the alley-oop slam against Team USA.
Like I said, it was 3 years of frustration and anger. So once I saw that lane and Nate just ready to throw me a nice lob, I was giddy for it, and I wanted to put it down hard, make a capitalization for that tournament and for our country. I saw replays of people reacting to it, back home, and everybody's going wild. So it was good to finally, get that cap on the USA. But Canada has bigger plans. Like Olympics is coming up. The Victoria qualifying tournament's coming up. Like, we have bigger and better things to focus on, and we can make that same impact and that same history in the men's at the men's level.
So when you transfer UBC to Carleton, you're going to have to sit out a year or so, but you're going to be able to train and still kind of, get things underneath your belt. But now having basketball taken away from you for this long, is this the longest you've been away from the game? And really, like, how long has it been? Can you count on your hand how many times you've really been able to kind of get up and down at game speed?
I last played in March at the Nationals. Then I got a chance to play 5-on-5 very competitively with the senior team in Puerto Rico for the February qualifying tournament. I think I played really well in that practice environment. I really got to show what I had been working on, and they took notice. Even though I didn't dress, I did practice, I did play, and I think that I definitely got to show like what I had improved on, and they took notice to keep an eye on me.
I've been asking a lot of people this. Do you feel like maybe now not that you ever did, but you're never going to take this sport for granted, ever?
No, it's brought me too many blessings in my life, and to not work hard at it is disrespectful. I'd say is disrespectful to not treat this sport and these opportunities with the utmost respect. Like, this time, even though we're not playing, it's a time to get more mobile, more athletic, stronger, change your habits. I've done a lot of film with my coaches, both Taffy and Dave, and that has helped me tremendously just see the game. So I'm excited to put that to use and really work on my game decisions. So that's one thing that you can't make an excuse for, is you can always watch film and improve that side too.
How ready are you to be able to get back on the floor with the River Lions?
I'd like to say really ready. So we'll see. I definitely have a lot of confidence in myself and what's about to come up for myself. So no, man, I'm excited.
Grant Shephard, I feel like you're a vet, but I know you have so much more ahead of you. Thank you for coming on the MPH Hour. Looking forward to watching you succeed for years to come here in Ontario with the River Lions and then with Carleton, man. Good luck the rest of the way, and can't wait to see what you do with this game.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
So this show had a coach, a former player turned coach, and a current player that are all involved with our national programs and are now within the ranks of our Canadian post-secondary basketball world. For those that don't know, historically, U Sports and the Canadian college level have been looked at as an inferior product compared to those of their American counterparts. But as you have heard, times have changed. And while the one glaring difference that remains is that those that play post-secondary in America can get their educations fully paid for. That also comes with extremely high expectations and limitations on training that can actually hinder an athlete's ability to reach their goal of playing professionally. So what's still missing here at home at the post-secondary level? The first is exposure, and the easiest way to provide exposure is social media. It's also the quickest way to help our student athletes get themselves out there to build their personal brands. And I'm not talking about a player getting their own shoe or clothing line, but building their brand as a person. You can pick your platform from TikTok to LinkedIn. They all bring value and can make people feel more connected to the student athletes. Heck, why isn't this something that is added to the curriculum? Because it brings me to my next point of exposure, getting butts into the seats, which after the pandemic shouldn't be as hard. People are starved for things that we've been without for almost a year and a half. Fan support in university towns has always been good for the major sports when it comes to the student body because they most likely know the players. Let's make sure that everybody in the vicinity knows the players and want to go out and support. And let's focus on young families, because kids that see someone in person playing for their local school will be inspired to do the same thing. Or if it's academically, they want to go to that school and then support that team. Now, the easiest target when it comes to exposure is the fact that U Sport and CCAA games are not on national television, but the cost to staff and produce games at that level needed to air on sports television is far too expensive to be able to do it on a consistent basis and divide it up fairly across the nation. And you could never do it for just one sport. It would need to be equal among the different team sports. So live streaming games is an easy answer, but it still costs money. So games will need to go behind a paywall in order to make that happen. Maybe a campaign explaining where that money goes and why it is important for the game at the post-secondary level can help. If it's laid out where the $30 annual fee is going and why it's important, maybe that'll be enough to get more people on board. One thing I do have to say, sports television stations can still do highlights of those games off the live stream, and that would be a further way to grow the game. The next big difference is scholarships, which are not readily available for every school in every province in Canada. That's a topic for a different day. But in the end, the answer to all of this is funding. And I think it's time for big business to start giving back to the communities where their employees live, or for our government to ask these companies in their province or city to provide annual funds that go directly to the academic and athletic wellness of the kids in the area. This should go for all ages. Money for camps for kids so their families don't have to pay. Money for students for post-secondary that want to use their academic gifts to give back to the world or give back to their local community. And the same can go for athletes, providing money for them to reach their dreams here in Canada, which would then feed back into the post-secondary institutions that we need to ensure we don't lose our most gifted individuals to other countries. I know I'm oversimplifying it, and I know that this isn't going to happen tomorrow or next year or ever. But in the meantime, we just need more people to understand the value of building something here in Canada with other like-minded individuals who understand that leaving a legacy is all there really is after it's all said and done. If this pandemic, which has kept so many apart for so long, has taught us anything, I hope it's the understanding that being a part of something bigger for future generations is more important than anything any of us can do as individuals. You can find us at northpolehoops.com or North Pole Hoops on Instagram. I'm Jason Tom saying so long until next week when the NPH Hour returns here on News Talk Saga 960 AM.